Call this meeting to order of the Hawarden City Council. This is a regular council meeting. It is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. It is 5:30 p.m. We'll start out with standard agenda items. 1A is the approval of June 18 special council meeting and the June 26, 2024 regular council meeting minutes. Could I get a motion?
Go ahead.
Okay, Rob, and a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0. 1B, approval of the July 10, 2024 claims for payment. Any questions? Or a motion?
Motion to approve the claims for payment for July 10th.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you. At this time, we've got open business from the community. Do we have anyone who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll go on to the mayor's report. I'd just like to highlight some of our volunteers that have been so valuable to us. Luckily, we have an army of volunteers, and they've really shown up. We would not get through this disaster that we had without the volunteers that we've had. For one, Ashley Sandbolt has been amazing in providing food for our community up at the high school. She and Emma Boza also collaborated to address the housing situation and found suitable arrangements for everyone who was staying in the middle school gym and was displaced. As of Sunday, the gym was no longer used to house those who have been displaced. Travis Olson shared his time and marketing knowledge to assist the city staff in getting important information out to residents during the hectic first week of the recovery. I'm sure that Julie Coyle and Maddie Vlotto had no idea that managing our donations and distributions would be such a massive undertaking. But they were the perfect pair to get the job done, and they have done it so well. Coach Ryan Sweesaw and the West Sioux football team cleared out many flooded basements, as did the softball and baseball teams and other groups around the town and the surrounding area. This was hard, dirty work, and we appreciate very much the work that they did. There are many other individuals and groups of volunteers that deserve our recognition for donating their time and effort. We thank all of the volunteers who have stepped up to help people to start to get back on their feet. On Thursday, July 11th, that's tomorrow, out here in the council room, we will have a town hall meeting, our second town hall meeting. The city staff will give updates and field questions from the public. We've got an English version at 7 p.m. and Spanish speaking at 8 p.m. That's tomorrow night, July 11th, here in the council room. There's going to be a fundraiser also tomorrow night at Roosters. It's a fundraiser for flood damages that has been done in the senior center. So those profits will go to the senior center. The Falcon Wrestling Club will be holding a free will donation meal with all proceeds going to flood victims. That'll be this Saturday, July 13th. And we will be serving pork burgers, or they will be serving pork burgers, hamburgers, hot dogs, baked beans, and chips. And the Hawarden Golf Club will be offering 9 holes of free golf and a cart from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on that day. And not flood-related, but just to put this on your calendars, the Culpeper and Merriweather Circus is coming back on Saturday, July 27th. That'll be up on the north lot of the West Sioux School, middle school and high school. Tickets will be going on sale soon for that. That's all I've got. At this time, we'll move on to staff reports. Gary.
I would just like to commend our office staff on the job they've done with our residents. They've been nothing short of amazing, and I can't thank them enough. Like everyone, we have to continue with our daily functions during this difficult time. It's created some challenges, but we'll fight through it just like everyone else. We have made a formal offer, and it has been signed and accepted to hire a new police chief. We cannot say more about it at this time because he was leaving on vacation and won't formally notify his current employer until next Monday. Looks like his first day will be on or near August 10th, so his hiring will be on our next agenda. And we continue to search for an additional full-time officer, but we'll include the new chief in those decisions moving forward.
Thank you, Gary. Tracy.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Travis.
The wastewater plant is still up and running. It's running at high capacity, and that's due to groundwater infiltration into the sewer system. The water treatment plant is still running well. We're asking that no one water their lawn for at least another week, and we'll update you once we get 2 more wells back online. The reason for this is ultimately fire protection. We don't want to lower our reservoir or our tower with unneeded usage until we have enough well capacity to fight fires. So that's the reason for it. We appreciate everyone's patience with the water and wastewater usage throughout this historic flood event. Gas meters that were removed from service or had the valve shut off, they're slowly coming back on as new appliances are replaced and the work's been checked out. Electricity is on everywhere in town, except for we have 75 customers without electricity. All these were flooded and need an electrician to check on them before turning the electricity back on. IES will be here next week to work on the substation. The structural steel was delivered this week, so we continue with those projects. On the streets, our debris contractor has been busy hauling away flood damaged items. The county has borrowed us their trailer magnet that we've been pulling around town to pick up any screws, nails, pieces of steel we come across. Next week will be the last week of curbside pickup, but we'll have dumpsters available at 808 7th Street, continuing on until further notice. If someone has extenuating circumstances, they can sure call the office, and we'll work with everybody to get things picked up. I've been working some of my time on the public assistance with the state and FEMA. There's a lot of paperwork that's going to be involved. Just trying to keep that all going at the same time. We continue to clean up the pool. It will not be open again until next year due to the pumps being flooded and some of the chemtrailers. We plan to utilize our lifeguard staff for park cleanup and other odd jobs that our normal utility staff is unable to get to. The park shelter house and our comfort station, which is the shower house by the camper pads, were significantly damaged, and we're waiting for an inspection before we can make a decision on fixing or replacing those 2 buildings. Camper pads, we've put the barricades up and signs on them. They're saved for anyone who lives in town and who's been affected by the flooding, so they can have first chance at getting a camper pad. And our own city hall did not make it out of the flood without damage. The basement was flooded. We got the water heater working temporary today, so until a new one's ordered, well, it is ordered until it gets here. And we'll just keep working on that cleanup process. Now we're down to about 3 inches of water in the basement, so we were like 6 feet. So lots to do. We'll just keep plugging away.
That's all you can do. You just got to keep at it,
Yeah.
adding to your list. And thank you so much I know you guys are all spread thin.
Yeah, lifeguards have helped a lot. They got the park sprayed down today, so we just kind of keep going on different projects, and gives them hours that they're losing out on too. So, and we definitely need the help. So,
We need,
yeah. it's working out good.
Thank you, Travis. Carol?
Well, it's been pretty busy in my world working with the Iowa Economic Development Group and the USDA. They've reached out many times in regards to where do we need the money, what do we need the money. As Gary puts it, it's going to be devastating, the costs. They're there to help. They've made that very clear. A few of their programs, they talk about the public assistance projects through FEMA. They've offered a 15% grant to the cities for the match, so that the cities don't have to come up with that money. To get those projects done, you know, like the park shelter, comfort house, they do have grants through their community facilities that will help with that to make those costs not quite so significant. Working with the strategic plan of 3 years, which I started 2.5 years ago, which is going well, has changed significantly. But the goal is to make Hawarden more beautiful than it was before the flood. So we have started, or in case you guys have noticed, they broke ground on the 24 apartment complex, well, the 212 apartment complexes. Anyway, so those have broke ground. We have an investment group that is bringing in 3 homes. We ordered them today. We did secure those lots, which is very exciting. The Iowa Workforce Grant that will bring in 4 new apartments for upper housing living. Hopefully we'll hear on that this week, which would be awesome. So hopefully in the next 6 months, we have about roughly 35 new homes available to our residents. I did speak with Eisma Homes. They had 5 couples from Hawarden in there this weekend looking for new houses. They just want to know where to put them. Well, we want them to put them here. So hopefully, with people actually acting out on their own, we'll be able to continue with that as well. The 6 condos or whatever Skelling kind of has planned for our 16th and L lot, those will start at the beginning of next year. So hopefully within the next year, to kind of complete out the 3-year strategic plan, we should have about 45 new homes on the ground, which will be awesome. Hopefully we don't lose that many. I've had a lot of contractors reach out to me to understand FEMA's, what does a red tag mean? What does a yellow tag mean? What does this mean? Can I do something with this house? Those questions have been answered. I've passed them on to some other people to get some direction from Rock Valley, so that's worked out well. HUD and the CBDG disaster recovery through HUD is tied to a presidential disaster such as the 2019 flood, the 2020 derecho. So they're hoping that they're going to go ahead and consider this 2024 as well. With that comes many opportunities. So that's kind of a threefold thing. So we'll go ahead and continue with that. I did work with the UNI SBDC group, had 2 young men come in. We visited about 14 businesses, went through a survey with them, what they need, where they're at. People are pretty optimistic. You know, it's been slow. There's things going on in town that I wish weren't, but they are. So we're going to continue with that. I have written 4 loans at the 0% out of our revolving loan fund. I did talk to Lyle with Northwest REC on their revolving loan fund 0% program. They've had great response as well. So people are continuing to borrow and invest in Hawarden, which is really exciting. And I could probably go on for another 10 minutes, but I won't. That'll be the highlights.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Jenny?
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to council comments.
I've got just a couple thanks and continue to work on that stuff. I think that's important to the community right now. Thanks to Larry and Gary for all the time they put in over the last few weeks. I know it's been stressful on you guys and that you guys have done a great job and all the city staff. I want to do a little clarification. I put out a post today about our updates of our county parks, and we've got Big Sioux Rec area, the campgrounds are back online. Sandy Hollow, they're back online. Oak Grove, they're online. I also put out there that the families that we want them to continue to stay out there. So if you're in need and need a camp spot, those will be available to you. If you're getting assistance from FEMA, and some are, because I've seen that already, then I don't want to count them twice. So, because I'm going to get reimbursed back on our end. So we'll continue to honor that. Just need to reach out to the Sioux County Conservation Board if you still need assistance as far as the fee goes. So I just wanted to clarify that, and that post will go out tomorrow again. So
I just want to thank all the volunteers too, and I can sort of echo what Larry says. There were so many out there, citizens, people from out of town, but the community really got out to the homes of people and went around and asked if they needed help. And there were just hundreds. But I want to thank them all, and the city employees were always out there. I saw their trucks all the time, and I felt really bad because some of them, their own homes were flooded, and they still had to go out. So I felt bad for that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I wanted to let everybody know that they probably saw it, that the Veterans Memorial, 2 of our stones fell down. They're currently being fixed. So they got taken out yesterday. The 2 stones that fell got taken out yesterday. They got to look at the backside to see if it needs to be repaired or what it does, and then that company will come in, that monument company will come in and put them back in. So
Good.
I got lots of calls about that, saying, people telling me that they fell down.
Sensitive.
So, yeah, that's going to get done, so.
Okay, good. Thank you. Moving on to other agenda items. Item 3 is a resolution 2024-24, authorizing and approving a loan agreement, providing for the issuance and securing the payment of the $2,500,000 electric revenue bonds series. Who would like to speak to that?
I can. There are 2 segments to the financing of the substation. The first resolution is dealing with the state funds that, in the amount of $2,500,000 at 2%. The second resolution is dealing with actual bonds that are being issued. Both of those will, once this is taken care of, they will come to fruition on the 16th of, which is next Tuesday, I believe. We will have to sign off, and then somewhere around the 25th of the month, we will receive the proceeds. It takes about 10 days, a week to 10 days, once we implement everything. So, but the first resolution is dealing with the state portion through IEDA, and the second resolution is dealing with the actual bond sale. So,
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-24.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Clucky.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Warner.
Aye.
Harvey. Anderson.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Item number 4, resolution of the 2024-25, authorizing and approving a loan agreement providing for the issuance and securing the payment of $2,725,000 in electric revenue bonds, Series 2024A. Anything you want to add to that?
no, I think I've already expressed what this resolution deals with, so.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote also here. Allen.
Aye.
Warner.
Aye.
Harvey. Anderson.
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Moving on, we've got item number 5, which is the second reading of Ordinance 752, amending the water utility rates. We've been through this before, but
Yep,
go
just a
ahead.
reminder, it's a 3% increase on the usage only. The base rate will stay the same. Amounts to about, on average, 48 cents per month for a residential customer.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of Ordinance 752.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Warner.
Aye.
Harvey. Anderson.
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Number 6, vicious dog ordinance discussion. It was asked to be put on the agenda, so here we have You had a chance to review that? Are there any changes that you are interested in making?
So I went back and I reviewed all of the videos from those days that were presented to us by one of the residents. And my heart broke. I mean, those families that have been affected by these vicious dogs that have happened in town, absolutely, my heart breaks for them. So I took the time and looked at all of those videos, and when I went back, we also had asked for that individual to present what he would like to have changed in the ordinance, and we have not really done anything with that. So I think we really need to do our justice here as council individuals and as, you know, a city, and make sure our citizens are protected and that we do something when there is attack. I think the dog should be impounded immediately when there has been an attack, not just let them be able to go back to whatever town they came from. So I want to see some more stricter words put into our ordinance. And I think John did a great job in presenting that, and I don't know if anybody's even read it, to be honest with you. I did. So, thank you. So, I really want us to come together and make some decisions on this of how we want it worded. And I don't want it to, I really don't want it to be as somebody's opinion. I mean, if a dog attacks, obviously it's done its damage, you know, it should be impounded immediately, and we should follow through with what our ordinance says. So that's what I'm presenting. And I want to do this because it's happened more than once, and I think we owe it to the public to have something that we will stand by and act upon. My thoughts.
Anyone else?
Now, this is our existing ordinance on dangerous and vicious animals.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want to see anybody bitten in the way some of those pictures I've seen either. And an animal that can do that shouldn't be running around, as far as I'm concerned. However, I would like to look at this and review apples to apples of what John had turned in. I'm not against changing something. And maybe parts of that, you know, will work in here. I just would like another copy of that. I probably have it on here, of what he handed in. I'd like to revisit it and look at it.
Okay.
Jenny, have you had time to go through that?
I have. You know, what the ordinance does provide right now is that if an animal is found to be dangerous, it is impounded. A hearing is held, and the council then decides the disposition of this animal. So that is what is in place. And I did review it when it was previously brought here. I'm not sure if we're going down the route of specific breed ban, if that's the intention, or just the intention of tightening up what do you do if an animal is deemed to be dangerous.
I mean, I'd be interested in like tightening up, maybe make it clear that, I mean, they can have a hearing and the council can review that, but I would say immediately that dog is impounded.
And that is in place right now.
That's what I was
I think that individual didn't live in our town.
That was
Right.
the problem. Yeah,
And
that was the
I think that dog left the state
But can't we still impound
before it was
it?
impounded.
That's where I do not want to I don't want to see that happen again, not ever.
So how it reads is that it's either euthanized, right, or the
Yes.
dog is removed from the city. And then the question becomes, how do you ensure that the dog doesn't come back to the city?
Exactly.
Correct.
So that's how it reads currently.
Can we impound a dog that doesn't live in the city?
Yeah, if it's in the city.
I mean, if they come here and bit, I'd still, whether they live out of town or not, you know, maybe we can tighten it to where they're impounded.
That's
As
exactly
long as,
my
as
goal.
long as the
Is
police get the
immediate.
dog before it leaves town.
And that's
Exactly.
what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So then it becomes a
Exactly.
challenge. Do you want to chase
Whoever they
across
are.
state lines for a dog? Probably not. Because I think that's what happened. I don't know for certain, but I think by the time the police got there, the dog was removed. So the problem essentially was not here. I don't know if we can get a warrant to get a dog returned to impound him.
I don't even remember who was on.
I don't either.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
at
matter
this
really,
point,
yeah.
so.
I think, if I recall correctly, I think they hightailed pretty quickly out of town.
So Patty and Christie, would you be willing to serve on a committee to review our current ordinances and come back with suggested language and
Tighten it, that,
yep,
yeah.
and pass that through Jenny and see if it sounds good to her, and then we'll deal with it at that time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? Moving on to number 7, discussion of flood-related items such as utility billing and such.
Yes, if you don't mind taking a little bit of time, I've got a number of things that I thought we should start to address at least tonight, some more crucial than others probably, but at least starting conversation. First of all, I did put a sheet in front of all of you that deals with local government options when it comes to how we might pay for some of these things. I'm not sure any of us want to borrow money or issue tax levies or do those kinds of things. It's kind of adding insult to injury with people that have already had a major tragedy in their life. And so I think we need to continue to look at other ways to fund these issues. First of all, we wanted to start with utility billings. Of course, we have a number of homes, several hundred, that have been without power and for the entire month, living elsewhere. And, you know, do you guys have a preference or any thoughts as to how we handle the utility billing, which goes out July 12th for the month of June? It's just emotionally very difficult for me to send a bill to those guys that have been devastated in their life. But, you know, I wanted to bring it to you guys and get your thoughts, I guess. So.
I guess I read what you had too, and been out to so many homes and seen the devastation in many of them that don't have utilities. Matter of fact, one house that I was trying to help with FEMA, they didn't get electricity till Monday, so I would like to see it no bill to those people for that month.
That were directly affected.
Directly affected.
Yeah, because you have a list of everybody that was directly affected,
Yeah.
just forgive their utility bill for the month of June.
We have a pretty good idea. of
That's,
who they
I mean,
are,
that
so,
just
yeah.
makes
I
more
mean,
sense.
Captive audience there, so.
They're still cleaning out, and some of them, we still have people that don't have electricity. I mean, this is a major disaster, I guess, from what I've seen, and seeing how they still don't have utilities, or they just got them on. I would like to see us forgive, or not bill them for the June month, those affected.
Any questions, Tracy, that you have on how to handle that?
Just figure it out.
There's one option too. You know, there was a week where, you know, we asked no one to use the sewer, no one to use
I
the
know.
water. And there's a way to prorate the whole town to only like 3 weeks of the base pay. I mean, that'd be an option as well that we talked about.
Obviously, the ones that were still operational were using power probably. so
Yeah.
they're-
Yeah, this would just
they
be
would
the
still-
water and wastewater. Since we were cutting that, we were asking the whole town to not use, conserve. That's just another option that we,
Those of us that weren't impacted should belly up and pay our bill.
well, that's just an option that we,
I feel that way with, you know,
With
myself.
mine, too.
and,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
That would be my preference.
I would like to stick to just the more folks that were directly impacted.
That would be my preference. And again, I estimated 300 homes at $150 a home. You know, we don't know what those numbers are. We haven't run that yet because we weren't sure how you felt, and we didn't want anticipate anything. So, of course, so that's what we'll do if that's the guidance or preference of the council. So,
I think in this case, that's what I would like to do.
Tracy, any questions that you have in implementing that?
No, so we're just going to have to track down those who were impacted.
Yep.
And, but anybody else that it was on, we're just going to leave it? Are we going to,
It will just get billed.
they'll get billed straight out? There's
Yeah.
no adjustment to their water or sewer for that?
I mean,
No.
it wasn't
No.
that many days. I think,
It's just your prorate, like on your sewers, which is $30, your water, which
Yeah.
is $12.20.
They might have been inconvenienced, but their lifestyle didn't change much. I mean, compared to
No.
people that don't have a home or a
I think
basement
we have
full
to
of water or
understand
those kind of.
those that have suffered terribly.
Yeah.
And,
So-
you know, we had a few days without water and being able to flush our toilets. I mean, we kind of sacrifice for all those that have lost a lot, and they're still cleaning up.
Yeah.
Right, no, we'll work on it. When we do bill, because we'll be looking at it, so how we bill, if you're on front desk, it will go out, but we're going to be reviewing everything. We're going to try and stop it from going out for those people. So we do
That's-
ask that they reach out to us if they get one
Okay.
and contact us. But we're going to try and stop all of them that'll go out. But that is different
That's
because we
hard.
have front desk. It is, you know, it's web-related, so it will instantly notify them. So we're going to try and stop that before it goes out. But we do ask that customers call us if they get something, and we're happy to work with them right now on anything. We're asking them to call us, and we'll be happy to work through any of the billing situations that we have, whether it be utilities or high-tech.
When you say front desk, Tracy, are you talking about those that are on ACH?
No, I'm talking those that are on our web base.
Okay.
Or
What
web
about your
board.
ACHs? Is this enough time to stop that?
Yes, because
report
ACHs
from
don't
going-
come out until, so if we're billed on the 12th,
Uh-huh.
they don't come out until in August.
Okay, in August,
5th.
the next time.
Yeah, the 5th, August
Be the
5th.
next bill.
Those are
Maybe-
August 5th. Bills that are already out,
Correct.
you know, they've already been taken for
Okay.
7/5.
Okay.
These bills haven't billed yet. Those would come out on August 5, so yes, they'll be able to be stopped.
There may be a few glitches, but we'll work through it.
Okay, sounds
Uh,
good.
Do you not need a motion for this?
We probably should have. I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice. It would make it a lot more formal.
It's listed as a discussion item, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not either. We just wanted some direction more than we wanted anything, I guess. It's really up to you guys if you want to make motions or not, but if we can take direction from you and you're comfortable with that, we're comfortable with
Or if it's a
it.
consensus of the council.
Yeah.
I just say we make a motion so it's on record.
We do, but like I said, the item says discussion.
So,
That a problem, Jenny?
Why don't, the direction's clearly been given.
Mhm.
The agenda next time to approve the rating of the bill for those that are directly impacted for the month.
That's still before July.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what else comes up from this discussion that we might also add to that.
Yep. Well, there's some other things on the list here, so. The next thing on the list is code enforcement and maybe zoning leniency. And I'll just give you some examples of people living in campers in their driveways right now. I know we had some issues with law enforcement dealing with someone that had too many dogs in their home, some things like that. I've instructed the police to not issue or deal with any nuisance or zoning ordinances without discussion with me and not enforcing anything until we have those conversations internally. So at this point, but I bring it up before the council because in our zoning code, it specifically states you can't do some of these things. And I can't even tell you what they are because we don't always know. They're kind of a day-to-day moving target sometimes, but I would just ask that we have some leniency to use some common sense in some of these issues right now with the flood. But and we'll try not to go too far.
We're not going to go so far to let people live in condemned houses,
Yeah,
and we're not going to go so far to tell somebody can have 10 dogs in their house. I mean, that's a health issue.
It
That's
is.
not something I want to waive.
it is. But we don't want to enforce our code to to the,
To the T.
to the T right now, you know?
I
It's just,
mean, not right now.
yeah.
I agree.
Be a little
10
lenient,
dogs?
use a little common sense.
So just so you know, that's what we're doing. I just want to make you aware again that you may hear in the public that, you know, so-and-so, you know, before we couldn't do this. Well, unfortunately, we didn't have a flood before. But, so we want to make sure that we have some flexibility in our activities right now as we move through this process. And someday maybe we'll see some sense of normalcy again. Pool passes. We, again, we'll put this on an item, on the next agenda item, but do we want to, you know, we have the option of providing, or just telling people who will hold their passes, we can, for next year, we can offer them the option of doing that or giving them their money back. Do you guys have a preference as a council?
I would suggest that we honor it for next year. The passes that were purchased this year should be honored for next year.
They do have the ability to utilize Orange City. Sioux Center they had the option of using the Sioux Center pool for a couple of weeks. And now the Orange City one for the rest of the season. That is an option, not a very convenient one, but obviously, but it's a nice gesture on their part. But that being said, we can either offer them
I guess
use for next year, or no, or if you prefer, we can.
I'd like to give them a choice, I guess.
Give 'em
Let
a
'em
choice, or-
give them a refund, because some families, they scrape together 100 and something for a family, and, you know, maybe they'll start going somewhere else, you know. I guess I would give them a choice.
It does
You wanna
kind of
carry it
complicate
over?
things a little bit, is, the choice
Now,
of,
we need to have one decision here and
yeah.
make it easier for the staff, because we've got 100 things going on
I
here.
know we do.
I like the idea of letting them have it for next
Carry it
year.
Yeah. I guess if somebody really wanted
That
a
way.
refund, they'll,
It does complicate that, because we've given the list to these other pools, and they've already allowed them, and if we give them their money back, then we have to deal with
The refunding
scenario
and all that.
as well. So, that would be my preference as well. Okay? Moving on, potential tax abatement requests, housing demo, there's not much that we can, you know, be active on tonight, but I just wanted to have some conversation up front about those requests are already coming in, and they will be forthcoming down the road, and dealing with housing demo of people that just walk away from their homes and say, here you go, and, you know, there's going to be a lot of that happening, so we need to be aware of what action we want to take. Do we want, you know, I mean, there's always the legal recourse to go after the original owners, but, you know, that's not always a great thing to do when they've already lost their entire lives.
We had people walk away from a whole lot more than a house.
Absolutely.
We've had Bonington to walk away from buildings, we've had, you know,
Absolutely.
kids who walked away from an elevator, for Christ's sake, and left it for us to deal with.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think
Just so we know we have that to deal with coming up, and how you want, be thinking about how you want to deal with it, and there may be some funding options in the future. I know the governor's looking at some potential programs that help with some of those issues, but, you know, it's always scary when you rely on the government, but to do anything, and whether it's state, federal, or city, or anything, it's just, but this is an emergency situation, so there may be some assistance coming down the pike.
well, but if they're gonna walk away, don't we need a quitclaim deed or something?
Yeah,
Get permission to do whatever we're gonna do with,
Yeah, I think if there's a situation where they're willing to just walk away and the city then has to take care of demoing it, we will want an agreement that they are walking away as well as a deed. And there might be the situation where they know they're not coming back to that house, right? They may not know yet, because we just don't know whether they can rebuild in that same spot or not. Some people may just say, I'm not rebuilding, take it. I think a concern is these houses that sit through the fall and the winter come next spring. So if there are people who are like, take it, be done, I think we need to start thinking about what the city wants to do. Are they willing to say, okay, I'm going to take on that cost? We don't know if you can rebuild there or not, or if it's going to be green space. But yeah, to think of some of these houses that you know aren't going to be livable, do we want them to sit and continue to deteriorate until spring?
no.
so.
You know, if they're willing to sign it away to us, we will take it. If they're not, then we're gonna hold them to the same standards that everybody else has. If they've got a house that's not suitable, then tear it down
Yep.
at your cost.
Yep.
Otherwise, we will take it.
I am sure there are people who would love to say, be done, I don't want to look at it.
Absolutely.
The sooner the city can.
Absolutely. So we need to have those further discussions about that, but I just kind of tonight wanted to have some initial discussion and because those will be forthcoming. The other issue we have to deal with in regards to the housing piece of it, old housing piece of it, is we have a lot of rental houses, and some of those rentals are not probably going to be brought up to the standard that they should be before they're going to put their tenants back in there. And that being said, we don't have an inspection process, or we don't have inspectors in our community. And any thoughts to how we might handle that? We've got, I know a number of cases where if the basement gets the mud scooped out, it might be a miracle. But they'll put their tenant back in, potentially put their tenant back in the home, and probably not an ideal situation. So I don't know what, we can address it in a lot of, in several
Can we
ways.
hire somebody?
That's what I was thinking.
We can.
That question is, have we ever had an inspector?
There was a conversation, wasn't it like a year and a half ago, about contracting with other cities within the county who
Yeah.
also don't have one. And I don't know where that conversation ended.
When the council was over.
It is,
Yeah, I mean,
No,
but between the cities, because I know that Rock Valley doesn't have one. I think Orange City and Sioux Center, Orange City has their own now, I think.
I know Akron contracts out.
They reached out to Sioux
I don't know.
Center. They didn't, they reached out to Sioux Center, but they didn't want to, he was too busy. They didn't want to share.
We could,
I think,
And that might be
we could look at
real
Northwest
feasible this
Iowa.
year.
I was just going to say,
Yeah, our cog
Council
here
of
in
Government.
Northwest Iowa that could probably provide that service for someone, at least short term. And that's a
Sooner
bigger,
rather than later, Gary. 'Cause
I
once they
know.
move back in,
that's,
we're gonna play hell getting them out.
that's right. That's why I wanted a conversation tonight, because we'll move forward. I'll contact our cog tomorrow and we'll visit, so.
because there's some cities that, I can't recall which ones, but they would hire an independent one, a building inspector to come like twice a year
Yeah.
and inspect.
And we may need to do that, but right now it's kind of an emergency
But like
scenario.
I
Northwest-
want somebody coming in,
We-
stick red
I mean,
tags on the house.
they're out
Yeah.
there is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they are. Right now, there's nobody out there. You can't get people to
No, I
inspect
know.
or do anything. It's really tough, so, but that is something, Patty, that we need to
I think
look
so,
at
yeah.
long-term
Yeah,
as well.
that's what I was just saying.
So, anyway, those, we'll deal with that particular one immediately, but the tax abatement stuff, housing demo, we'll have continuing conversation about, okay? Subdivision regulations, we have none. So, in our code, which then reflects, Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but then we have to then turn to the state code for subdivisions, which really doesn't get very specific when it comes to our desires for the type of street we want put in, the utilities and who's responsible, those kinds of things. So, to create our own subdivision regulations, which nearly everyone has them but us. But if we're going to have some new development in the future here, we really should have subdivision regulations in place so that when we accept that subdivision, we accept the street as city property at that time, and city maintenance and city ownership. So if they put it in an inferior street, that becomes a city problem immediately, And without those subdivision regulations, it's really tough to control that. So my advice would be that Jenny's got, I'm sure, all kinds of examples from local communities. I know Rock Valley has a pretty strong subdivision regulation, as does a lot of towns, but most towns. But it's something that I would advise that we move forward with and have Jenny provide those and get started so that we have some tools, I guess, so that when someone comes in and wants to do a subdivision, we can give them the regs and they can work with their engineer and get it developed accordingly, and it comes before the council for approval and has all those specifications in it, and then you know that what you're accepting meets our standard. That's all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it.
Any other thoughts about that?
No, I was shocked that there weren't
Yes.
any.
I'm
So I
very
think it'd be a
surprised.
good time, especially now with new ones coming, obviously, to get them in place.
So
They don't
we'll
have to
work-
be super complicated.
Pardon me?
It doesn't have to be super complicated.
No,
It just has to
no.
have some parameters.
No. I'll work with Jenny and we'll get something as a draft for you guys to review, so. Donation accounts. As you know, we've got 2 donation accounts to the banks. I think pretty significant sum of money in them right now, and we have nothing in place to spend the money or give the money back, and
I've given that some thought as well, okay? And I would like us to form a committee. I would like 2 people from the west side of Maine, 2 people from the west side, and 2 people from the east side of Maine, and 2 council people to sit and discuss that and decide what can be done with this, nonprofit money.
I think we
Because
need,
certainly
I
we
think,
can't as
I
council.
think that needs to happen. I also think it'd be maybe good to have maybe a business or 2 as
Okay.
well.
Yeah,
So,
fine.
besides just residents, but,
Well,
because there's businesses that are impacted somewhat, somehow, some way.
they can come out of that west side.
Yep.
I like that idea too.
Yeah. 2 from the people that were impacted, 2 from the people that weren't impacted, and 2 from the city council. And let them sit and we can decide what kinds of things we want to do with that money.
Well, one of the things that would be nice to do is, like, I donated $50,000 and they said, well, Carol, we used your money to pay the utility bills of all the people that were affected by the flood. That would pretty big warm fuzzy to me. I'd be like, well, great, my money helped all those that were affected equally.
I'm sure they'll come up with ideas like of how they were affected, whether it's utility bills, houses, kids' toy. I mean, a personal, you're going to get a
I think you're
list.
going to have
Heck
an
of a list.
application
Yeah.
process for some of it,
That's it.
And then those
Yeah.
committee people would have to review those.
But we need to have some sort of organization
Yeah.
to deal with it.
I heard
rather
other
than
cities
just
have
throw
it,
it up
yeah.
in the air and say, those who catch it.
who you want to select those people? And how do you want to select them?
Who wants to serve from the council?
I'll serve on that one.
Okay. There's 1.
I'll serve on that one.
There's 2.
They can pick the other.
They can go around and see who,
Okay.
and bring it back to us next week and
We
we'll
don't need
decide.
3 would mess it up because it's more than a quorum.
Yeah,
So,
we don't want that.
And I think, I've talked with Tracy, and she would be willing to serve as a non-voting member just as,
Oh, she
a
knows what-
financial
Yeah, keeps it, then she knows what's going on.
guru. So,
If that's okay with Tracy. We're not gonna pay you extra.
so, she might just take her share, you don't know.
Any cash?
That's why I didn't want me to say that.
That's right, that's right. So anyway,
yeah, I would say, if people want to volunteer in the community, reach
Sure.
out to those people.
reach out to Derek or Patty.
And the sooner they get that going, probably the better.
Yeah, I know it.
So,
Yeah, I would say so too, I'd say so too. And we can,
Well, that's a vehicle by which we can decide what to do with that money, because like you say, it's not a small amount of money.
yeah, pretty significant,
Would you hate to look around and decide, well, where'd the money go?
right.
exactly.
Legal, Jenny? Okay.
So we'll make,
Stick a thing in the
make those,
paper.
yep,
We've got a committee being formed. Who wants to serve? Take their names and we'll decide.
and we'll put it on our website and our,
Yeah.
our Facebook page, so. Yeah, I just want to avoid city staff being on there at all, because I think it's being an inappropriate position for any of us, so, quite honestly. And it would not be a good thing, so, potentially. Anyway, I will put it in the paper, I will put it on Facebook.
On the website, yeah.
Let them know that, the decision will be made at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
You bet.
for everybody?
Sounds good.
And those are the only remaining things on my list. I don't know if anyone else has anything, but I just wanted to get out some of the flood-related stuff and get some conversation started. So, any other concerns or areas that you guys feel we should be addressing that we're not? Or, well, you, Travis, or Tracy, or anybody? So, okay, Carol?
I think it's a good list, and you'll probably get more, you'll be adding to it. That's what it seems like. There's a lot of things will be.
We'll put the things that we need motions on it in the next meeting agenda, but I just really wanted to have an open discussion tonight, and even though the utility billing is going out to 12, so we're going to take your recommendation, but hopefully that you don't change your mind between now and the next meeting. But any other concerns? Otherwise, I've said way more than you probably want to listen to. So
There's no rush.
Yeah.
We need to talk
Just,
about this stuff.
again, I want to avoid. We're going to have a huge amount of expense. We're going to have a tremendous amount of expense through this process. We will get public aid with some of it, probably through the public assistance program. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not covered. There's going to be a lot of stuff where we're going to pay a percentage of the cost, even with coverage. You know, it's going to be a huge amount of money. And I'm not.
Sit down and talk about what we can do without as a community.
Absolutely.
In order to pay some of those things.
Yeah, because I'm not going to, I can assure you, I'm not coming here ever to recommend a tax increase or
No.
issuing debt.
Not for a disaster.
Not in the situation we're in. It just is not
Oh,
the
but
right
belt
thing.
tightening will be necessary.
Yeah, definitely. There's no question in my mind, so.
Do you kind of have a running list of all the city damages? You know, like your, yeah.
We don't, yeah.
I mean, like the sewer plant.
Go ahead, Trevor.
pool, the
Yeah, right.
tennis court,
Um,
all kinds of streets.
Yes, we started a running list. Right now, we're going out, getting recommendations from the manufacturer on pumps, on gas meters, water meters, if they've been submerged in water. What's the recommendation? Can you repair them? Do they need to be replaced? And then that helps us kind of decide, and then we can put those numbers towards FEMA. And then we've got the documentation saying the manufacturer said this needs to be replaced because it's been inundated with water, so.
Do we have insurance for most of those things?
We have insurance, but the only coverage in a flood would be our marine, inland marine, which is our equipment, vehicles. And as of right now, the only thing that was damaged in the flood was the roller. It was down on Avenue A. They were doing some patching down there.
Everything else.
FEMA should cover some of that, though.
We'll recover.
85 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, we'll recover
usually
85 cents on the dollar of.
So- For a lot of that.
Of some of it. Not
Yeah.
all of it, but yeah, and so that'll be huge, but we have, we have situations that we've talked about where they maybe want to pay for a rebuild pump, for an example, in the wastewater plant, and the risk is too high for us to put rebuild stuff in there. So we may have to pay the difference between rebuild and new. So there's going to be those types of costs.
Or we may have to hire a lawyer to go after.
That's right. We're going to have to hire, well, yeah, we got
Yeah.
a pretty good one over there.
I wouldn't
no.
want the rebuild either. I'd want the new with the situation.
Well, you're
Well, it
talking.
depends how old it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it was
Well,
headed toward EOL anyway.
But
That's
it was
right.
damaged, I mean,
Depends on the stage.
it had to have been damaged,
And again,
some of that stuff.
the price of new versus, I'm going to use the park bathhouse, shelter house, for an example. We're having someone come over and do the inspection. If he finds that it's totaled, then or that it should be condemned and torn down, then we have a decision to make.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, it would be easy to say, let's just not do anything, or that, or the pool, or some of those things, but then we lose any hope of ever getting it back,
Yeah.
because we don't get the match money. So we need to move forward with this stuff, but the problem is, you know, we may get 100,000 for the bathhouse, and it might cost 250 to replace it. So, you know, those are the types of things that we need to deal with, I mean, financially, and how we're gonna pay for those, and, you know, and we won't know a lot of those things for months.
Yeah.
But, and we'll also have the cash flow issue that we have to contend with. You know, even though we get reimbursed, we have a several month cash flow issue if we pay out 400,000 for wastewater stuff. We may have to wait months to get a reimbursement. So it's not only, there's immediate need as well as long-term need. So it's going to be I'm telling you, it's going to be a cash crunch for the city, big time. So in a lot of ways.
That's what I figured.
So be prepared. Anyway, that's my soapbox for the night. But if you have anything else that you guys have concerns about, or we should do better or differently, let us know, and we'll do it. We just we'll put the things that you've given us the nod on the agenda for next meeting, and we'll have the police chief thing on the agenda as well, and go from there. I did talk to him by text today, by the way, and he's still very excited. So just saying.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to take so much time, guys, but
We need to
Yeah.
talk it out.
Okay, we are at the end of our agenda. I would take a motion to adjourn.
Consent.
You got a consent on there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda if you are at that yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think it's.
Let's do that. Okay, Patty makes the motion to approve the consent agenda, which is Sportsman's Lane's transfer of liquor license to the Hawarden Community Center on July 20th, 2024. So Patty's got the motion,
I'll second.
second by Christie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0.
So moved.
Okay.
Monty made a
Second.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
And those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Opposed?
You got that
Passes 5-0. We are adjourned.
claim sign sheet?
I heard that.
They can't. Gary, the 501c3 you're using for the donations is the Hawarden Parks and Rec Committee, correct? I recommend we have one person off that because they're going to have to be involved with the, they're going to be involved with how that, to answer where that money goes. I mean, it's a 501c3. And those are the list of people on that committee. So I would pick one of those, or a couple, and try to get one of them on it. Yeah, but still legally, it hasn't been approved, and it has to be it also has to be within the bylaws of that committee as well. So,
Aren't they their own people?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why.
So I would recommend that at least one person off that, not me.
Rob. I mean.
The 501c that's getting used.
We just need to pass